What is going on, all of you beautiful freaking creatures out there? Man, it is a beautiful day here in the piney woods of East Texas, my home woods. I am joined today by my co-host, Gypsy, also sometimes referred to as Dipsy or Dips, which we arrived at by calling her Gypsy Whipsy, just because it rhymed. And then somehow that later morphed into Dipsy Whipsy, and then that got shortened to Dipsy, and then of course, Dips. So anyway, here's Gypsy or Dipsy or Dips, whichever you prefer. Anyway, sorry for her panting. It is a little bit warm out here. She does have some water, as you can see, but it's like 90 degrees today. It's late April here in Texas, so the heat is coming. May is normally when the fire really starts burning here in Texas. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to show you guys 3 things that I learned in the United States Marine Corps during my service there. If you couldn't tell by the title, which I'm sure you already kind of caught the drift of this video, but 3 things that I learned, 3 lightweight sleeping setups that I learned that will allow you to sleep anywhere. Boy, as a Marine, one thing Marines are known for is sleeping anywhere. I mean, I think it's because you do so much just running and gunning in the Marine Corps that they wear you down. You get tired all the time, and they say Marines will sleep anywhere, with or without shelter. So I'm going to show you guys the proper way to sleep anywhere with shelter, with some type of shelter, minimal shelter. So like I said, 3 lightweight setups that I learned in the United States Marine Corps, and just the history on me. And I'm not one to over embellish my service or try to pretend like I'm somebody I'm not, or that I did something that I didn't. So we can go ahead and get all that out of the way. But the history on me is I served in the United States Marine Corps from 2017 to 2021. I did not see combat. I didn't really serve in a combat period of time. There was a few things going on during that time period, if you're familiar with that time period in Marine Corps history. But it was pretty much a peacetime, and I served at a peacetime Marine Corps. I was a field radio operator, a 0621, a communicator, and the role of communicator or field radio operator in the United States Marine Corps is kind of a unique role for the fact that everywhere needs communicators across all different types of units or battalions or regiments, whatever you want to call them. Communicators are everywhere. So when you get selected for field radio operator, because the way the United States Marine Corps works, or did at the time when I went in, is you got to choose your job field, but you don't get to choose your individual job within that field. That is selected for you at the needs of the Marine Corps. So I chose communications. I was selected as a field radio operator. Man. Yeah, so I had the unfortunate blessing of being assigned to an infantry battalion for my first unit. So fresh, brand new PFC or Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps, and bam, you're getting sent to an infantry battalion. And if you haven't served in the Marine Corps, you probably don't know that the weight that carries, but it's a scary experience. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a young PFC or Lance Corporal, the only thought in the back of my head was, oh boy, I'm about to get hazed. So anyway, got sent to an infantry battalion, Victor 22, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines on Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. And at the time, I was not grateful for that selection that they gave me. But looking back, I am proud of my service, and I'm glad that I was sent to that unit. So anyway, during my time with the infantry battalion, I was sent to a line company, which is where all of the actual infantrymen live and operate, and everything is within a line company. So I was sent to Golf Company, Victor 22. Like I said, young Lance Corporal, field radio operator, myself and another Lance Corporal that I went through the schoolhouse with, so he was fresh as well. Both of us got sent to this line company to go provide communications for that company. And a company is about 150 Marines, give or take. So it was on us, the weight was on our shoulders to go take care of the communications needs for this company when they went and did field exercises and stuff. And with that, you got to live in the field. And Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, looks very similar to the piney woods of East Texas. I mean, we trained in stuff just like this. And like I said, I did not serve in combat, but that does not mean that I did not spend my entire Marine Corps enlistment preparing for war, because when Marines aren't at war, they're preparing for war. It's either one of the two all the time. So we trained a lot in stuff that looked like this. We lived in the woods. We went out in the woods and played Army or played Marine Corps, whatever you want to call it. Slept in the dirt a lot, did different exercises, different military stuff, but a lot of sleeping in the dirt, in dirt that looks just like this. So that's where my experience is at. So that's what I'm going to tell you guys about, and I'm going to tell you guys about 3 different things, like I said, that I learned, 3 different camping setup styles that I learned while serving and doing all that stuff on Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, as I mentioned, these are lightweight, extremely simplistic setups. These are not meant to be, you know, big extended period of time camping setups, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the longest I went in the Marine Corps in the field without showering, sleeping in the woods for X many days straight was 17 days. So it's not meant to be extended periods of time, but you can. It just gets miserable at a certain point. But these are meant to be extremely simplistic, pretty cheap options, lightweight options that maybe say you're going turkey hunting. I know it's turkey season right now. Everybody's in the turkey woods, or you're going elk hunting in the backcountry, or, you know, doing something in the backcountry. These are lightweight options. I big emphasis on lightweight, which I know I've said a million times, and simplistic or cheap options. Now, number 1 is going to be the most basic. I want to even say my favorite, just because it's the classic. Every infantryman in the Marine Corps knows this. Every Marine should know this, really, because if you went through MCT, Marine Combat Training, they should have taught you this. But I don't know. I may not have learned this until I got to 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines, the infantry battalion. But every infantryman, without a doubt, knows this field sleeping setup. We'll call it a tent for simplistic sake. But it starts with this field issued, or this issued piece of field gear. It is a Marine Corps tarp. Now, you don't have to have a Marine Corps issued tarp, but this is my Marine Corps issued tarp. I had 2 of them, so when I left the Marine Corps, I turned in one. I think I had to buy SIF a new one. SIF wouldn't accept this, which is, don't even get me started. If you're a Marine, you already know. So anyway, I kept this one. This is the one that I actually used in the Marine Corps. It is a reversible double-sided tarp, which, if you know anything about the Marine Corps, you know that there's 2 primary camouflage patterns, of even camouflage patterns that you wear, and it is Marpat. So this is Marpat, and that's what the camouflage is called. This is woodland Marpat, and then there's also desert. So the Marine Corps basically has 2 patterns, and so if you're in a desert environment, you're probably going to have the tan side out, or coyote brown as they call it. And then if you're in a woodland environment like the Piney Woods here in East Texas or Camp Lejeune, you're going to have the woodland side out. So pretty simple. But yeah, it starts with a tarp, which is, you know, a basic item. You can probably get, for this first setup, you could get the items for this at your local hardware store, or you can order it on Amazon. But yeah, it's just going to be a tarp for the item number 1 for the first setup. Item number 2, and these are kind of overkill, ground stakes, and you only need about 4 of them. If you don't need these big ones. I honestly didn't know that they were this big when I ordered them on Amazon. I was expecting them to be a little bit smaller, but ground stakes. And if you don't have stakes, you can always just get some sticks. We did that plenty of times. I would say more times than not, we had sticks, or we had to use sticks instead of carrying stakes, because the stakes always get lost, and that's just how that goes. Number 3 for this first setup is 550 cord or paracord. Marine Corps calls it 550 cord, but this is I think a 250 foot roll, but you don't need that much. You could probably get away with 50 foot, but 550 cord. This is like, I don't know, next to your rifle. This is like every Marine's best friend right here. And then the final item, and this is really optional. This is a comfort item, but an isomat, as we call it. It's just a foam pad to sleep on the ground, basically. And then you can also add a sleeping bag. You know, obviously, this weather here in Texas, I'm not going to sleep with a sleeping bag. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of that. And I'll cover the pros and cons, what I like and what I don't like about each of these 3 setups that I'm going to show you. But yeah, here in Texas this time of year, I'm probably not going to sleep with a sleeping bag, just because it's so freaking warm. Even at night, it's only getting down into the 70s, you know, maybe 75 and stuff during the summer, maybe 80 degrees during the summer in the peak months here in Texas. And so I am not going to sleep with a sleeping bag. But if you were somewhere in a colder climate, obviously you would have a sleeping bag. But I was not going to drag one out here in 90-degree heat and get in it to show you guys that you need a sleeping bag. So yeah, those are the 4 items that you need for this first setup. And I'm gonna go over here to these trees, and I will see you guys over there so I can show you how to set this up. All right, so I've got my items. I'm over here with these 2 trees behind me. Another item that I forgot to mention, this isn't absolutely necessary. You can use your boot, but This is another Marine Corps issued item that I keep in every single one of my vehicles. You can probably get these on Amazon. I may have got this one on Amazon, but it's called an E-tool, or an entrenching tool is what that stands for. It's a shovel. It's a foldable mini shovel. You can lock it in at 90 degrees like this one, or it can go straight. But I just use it to clear brush. So like obviously it's springtime, there's a bunch of underbrush. So if I'm gonna be sleeping right here between these two trees, then I wanna clear the brush out obviously, so I'm not laying on it. Helps if you lock it down all the way. So obviously that was a little shrub growing, and I was able to just whack it out of the way, chop it up with that, get that little root ball out so you're not laying on top of a root ball all night. And I'm just gonna take my foot, just kind of you know, scrape all this aside. I just kind of backfill that hole. There's no divot. Pick up any sticks and stuff. A lot of the pine needles you can leave. And if you have concerns about me clearing that little bit of brush, don't worry, because right behind the camera over there, they have slicked everything off. They're coming through here and logging, so it's gonna get cleared anyway. Whew. All right, so you'll take your tarp. I don't know the dimensions on this Marine Corps issued tarp, but if I had to guess, maybe 8 feet lengthwise, and it may be a square. Now I think it's a rectangle, maybe 7 feet the other way. So 8 by 7, roughly. You just want to kind of see the area you're working with so you get an idea. All right, so set the tarp aside, get your 550 cord. Yes, I am out of breath. I'm a little bit out of shape. The Marine Corps was about 20 pounds ago. Don't know where this one starts. There it is. All right, so we're gonna get our 550 cord. I'm just gonna throw it over there. Let it do the work for me of unraveling it. All right, so ideally, obviously, you would take a lighter and burn the ends like you would with any other paracord, but I don't have a lighter with me right now. I'm not gonna worry about that. It's not gonna affect us. So, we're gonna take our first tree, take our 550 cord. Very simple. And I typically aim, I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day with a good pair of shoes, but I typically aim for like my belly height. So right about there, waistline, belly height, something like that. For some of you average size people, maybe that's your knee. Haha, that's a joke towards myself. But yeah, right there about the belly or the waist. The Marine Corps, I think the rule was they didn't want any shelters higher than waist high, and that's for a tactical reason. You know, enemy coming through the brush tends to overlook things that are below the waist, just because if you look back behind me, all this brush, you know, if there's a shelter that's this freaking tall, obviously it's gonna stand out like a sore thumb, whereas something below the belt is, you know, gonna be easily hidden, or well hidden better, I guess. So anyway, just gonna tie a simple knot in this, nothing crazy. And I always try to tie like a slip knot with a quick release, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what it's called, but to where I know that I can pull that back out pretty quickly without having to cut it. So got my knot tied there. I'm gonna come to my other tree. So I almost forgot, but before I wrap this piece of paracord around the other tree, I'm gonna take my tarp, and you want the length. So if it's 8 foot long, the longer side you want running parallel with the trees, between the trees. So I'm gonna take the first end of my longer side that would go towards the tree on my left. And you probably can't see it in frame, but there's a tree on my right, tree on my left. So I'm gonna take the first side that goes towards that tree, take the middle of it. And in these tarps that the Marine Corps issues, there's holes on the corners and then holes in the center. So I'm gonna take my 550 cord, take the end of it from the bottom, no, I'm sorry, from the top, and run it through the tarp eyelet. All right, so now my tarp is attached to the string, which is a little bit hard to film by myself, but the tarp is attached to the string facing that side of the tree. All right, so now I have my second tree, got the other side of the tarp. So the other length side of the tarp that would go towards this tree. The underside, I'm gonna go from the bottom up through that middle eyelet. Sometimes you gotta move the bungee cord out of the way, but. So, the tarp is now attached via 2 points, and you can probably see where this is going at this point. I should have cleared this little shrub right here, a little yopon bush, but I didn't. So I'm just gonna stomp it down. All right, so now I've got my second tree. Don't worry about the tarp positioning right now, but get to your second tree. And this is kind of an important part, but so I take that string and I pull it tight. I wrap it as tight as I can get it, same height, you know, make sure it's level around the tree. And you can take it when you get it to the other side, you can kind of feed it and try and get it a little bit tighter. You just want it as tight as you can get it. Now don't tie it yet, because if you go to tie it, you're gonna get a bunch of slack in it. So you wanna pick up all that slack you've got, all that extra line, and you're gonna wrap it around the tree again. And this just basically locks in that tension. So as you can see, it's pretty freaking tight. I'm gonna do it again, one more time. Like I said, we just do that to lock in that tension. So now I'm gonna go to tie my knot, and I know that I'm gonna remain tight on the line tension. So again, I tie just a little knot that I know I won't have any trouble getting out. And I've got a little bit of slack, no biggie. All right, so that is the gist of it. And that, like I said, I'm sure you can see where this is going at this point, but I'm gonna center up my tarp. Bam, bam, bam. That is looking good. All right, I'm gonna get my stakes. All right, so I got the stakes. Like I said, you can use sticks. Sticks work great too. These things, honestly, I think more trouble than they're worth. They came with these fancy little D-rings on them, and anyway. All right, so I'm gonna move the camera back so you guys can see. So, like I said, I'm sure you guys can get the gist of where this is headed, but you're gonna pull it tight like that, and you're gonna use your stakes to get the tension to basically build a little house. So I'm gonna pull it out, see how far it needs to go. My camera's gonna adjust. There we go. Pull it out, see how far it needs to go. And it's got these bungees on the corners, so it gives you the ability to pull it tight, you know. There's a root system right here, so I think I'm gonna go right here with mine. And with a stick, you would just jam the stick in the ground and then loop the bungee on the back of the stick. Easy peasy. With these are kind of a pain because they're so long and I have to go all the way in with them, or else I don't want to, you know, I don't want to end up tripping on them in the middle of the night. All right, bam, so that's one corner done. All right, I'm gonna take my next stake. Same thing on this side, just pull the tension, which again, I probably should have cleared this area a little better, but no worries. And I'm just doing the same thing, just screwing this side in. All right. So, obviously, we have one side of our shelter. And now, this is great for keeping the moisture off of you, morning dew, all that stuff. Even in a heavy rain, it's gonna keep it off of you. But I will note, if it was gonna be a heavy rain tonight, I would work to get these tighter to make sure that the rain runs off instead of pooling right here and, you know, just pulling my structure down. So, I'll work on the other side now. All right, so lather, rinse, repeat. Got my stakes, just putting my stakes in. And the second side, this side you can use to, you know, get more tension out of it if you didn't pull enough over there. All right, last corner. All right, so this is structure number one. Extremely simplistic, 550 cord between two trees with a tarp pulled over the top and some anchor stakes on each corner. Doesn't get much more simplistic than that. That is your basic sleeping quarters for an infantryman in the field. Obviously, you would slide your isomat in there. That way you've got, you know, a little bit of cushion between you and the ground, a little bit of thermal insulation. But yeah, I mean, if you're trekking through the woods, you're probably gonna look right over that. Man, I tell you, gotta go get some water. And probably worth noting as well that those can be put up a lot quicker than I just did it. One, messing with cameras, and then two, it's been about 5 years, 6 years maybe since I've done that. So give an old guy a break. I'm a little rusty. Oh man, the good stuff. That's some high quality H2O. you guys don't forget to check out my guys over at Rosso. Some boys from South Louisiana got a brand, and man, I really mess with them. I like what they're doing down there. They're not paying me. They sent me a t-shirt. I like this t-shirt, but yeah, they like catching fish, like shooting ducks, and I think they got a pretty cool brand going. So, you know, I'm kind of picky on what I'll represent, but man, I like this Rosso t-shirt and some of the other gear that they've got. So y'all check them out, Rosso. All right, so again, that is structure number 1. I'll even crawl in there for you guys. Give me just a second, let me get it set up. So, imagine you're an infantryman in the field, it's raining, but you are nice and snug in your little structure. Now, when you wake up in the mornings, there will be condensation on this, but that's why having it waist height is just high enough to where it keeps it from touching you. You know, you're able to keep all that moisture off the top of you. Perfect little sleeping setup. Man, this brings back some memories. You know, and I'll tell you, back when I was proficient in this stuff, when I was quick and we did this stuff all the time because we were in the field all the time, I would have set this structure up to where the wind blew straight down it. So if the wind's blowing from that way, I would have set it up with the tunnel of it facing that way. That way I can get just a little bit of gust through there. Because I'm telling you, right now, it gets hot. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, it gets hot, just like here in Texas. So humid, hot, muggy. It's the South. It's a swampy area, and man, does it get warm. So yeah, that's structure number 1. Now, like I said, I was going to tell you guys about the pros and cons. Now, it's a pretty simplistic structure, and maybe you're saying to yourself, Spencer, did you really just show us how to put up a tent? It's as basic as it gets. I told you that. So an A-frame, a TP, a tent, whatever you want to call it, that's it. And the pros and cons. So they're pretty obvious, in my opinion, but we'll state them. So the pro is obviously it's going to keep water off of you. It gives you some type of shelter to keep the elements that come from the sky off of your body. I've slept in that thing in a range of temperatures. I do remember it snowing one morning on Camp Lejeune, and I was asleep in one of those, and man, cold morning. But again, obviously you would have a sleeping bag. Seemed like the Marine Corps issue sleeping bags were just never enough. Always woke up with cold feet. I remember stating as I was getting out of the Marine Corps, one of the biggest reasons I was getting out of the Marine Corps is because I was tired of waking up with cold feet. And to this day, even when I go camp in my rooftop tent and stuff without a heater, that is one of my biggest pet peeves, is just waking up 5 o'clock in the morning before it's even time to get up because my feet are just frozen. So anyway, that's the structure. The pro is obviously it keeps the elements off you. The con is it's not going to keep the mosquitoes off you. And I know that from firsthand experience. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, again, is a very swampy, humid environment, and boy, do they have some mosquitoes, and that will not keep any bugs off of you. So you kind of pick your battles. The Marine Corps does issue a bivy sack, which is like a tarp-shaped sleeping bag, but it's like tarp material, so it's not insulated. And you have to make the decision of, one, sleeping in your bivy sack in there, and what that will do is keep the mosquitoes from getting to you. But the downside of that is you will absolutely sweat to death, especially even this time of year. You know, it's 90 degrees right now. You're gonna sweat to death in that bivy sack. Or you'd sleep without the bivy sack. You know, you just open air sleep there on your isomat, and unfortunately, every bug in the world knows it. So you got to kind of pick your battles. To my recollection, I always preferred sleeping with the bivy sack and just sweating it out. Eventually, I would just fall asleep versus waking up constantly because mosquitoes are just tearing me up, especially on your face and your hands and stuff, you know, because you wear long sleeves. You always sleep in your Marpats in the Marine Corps. So that's the pros and the cons. You know, bugs are going to get to you if you don't sleep in the bivy sack, but you'll be kept out of the elements. So on to number 2. All right, method number 2, lightweight sleeping setups that I learned in the Marine Corps. Now, this is not a Marine Corps issued item. I ordered this one off Amazon. I'll put all the links to anything that I ordered on the internet down in the description. I don't make a commission off any of it, but if you want to check it out, it'll be there. So this is item number 2. This is going to be the fastest, and I'll go over the pros and cons at the end, but this is going to be the fastest and probably second most lightweight method. And I've never even opened this one up, truth be told, but we were issued basically the same thing or a very similar item in the Marine Corps. Oh, almost knocked the camera over. Anyway, that was not smooth, but that right there. I'll have to look at what I paid. I want to say I only paid like 30 bucks for this. Like, it was cheap. It was ridiculously cheap. So it, pretty self-explanatory, right? But it just pops out. This is Nightcat is the brand, but it's a one-man sleeping tent or bug net, essentially. It's just a little fiberglass frame that goes around, kind of like those laundry hampers that, you know, spring up and down, but same concept, but it's got a mosquito net. So turn it to where I can get in over here. But this one, again, is kind of self-explanatory, and you can also use your isomat, put your isomat in there, and then you can also use your tarp and put your tarp over it if it's gonna rain. If it's not gonna rain, I don't recommend it because it just traps heat. But yeah. So that's it. I mean, that quick I had a structure put up. Now again, this won't protect me from the rain. There's this up here, but it's not gonna stop rain. So you will have to put the tarp on top if it's gonna rain, but this is gonna keep all of the freaking mosquitoes off of you, that's a godsend. That is worth its weight in gold when you're in the field. So pretty simplistic. All right, so pros and cons. Obviously, I mean, super quick setup. That's gonna be a huge pro, right? It's very lightweight. It doesn't weigh hardly anything. Again, we were issued one of these in the Marine Corps. It was coyote brown, so it was a different color, but same exact design. This is just a cheap Amazon knockoff, but I've slept in those all over the world. It has been, I mean, truly worth its weight in gold, especially in bug-ridden environments. Some places are prone to having more bugs than others. There's mosquitoes on Camp Lejeune pretty heavily, ticks and stuff like that. But Malaysia was a place that we went, sleeping in the jungle in Malaysia. Oh my gosh, the amount of bugs and spiders and everything was just insane. And thank God that they issued us those when we were going to Malaysia. So speaking of bugs, there was a bug on my arm. But that thing in a heavy bug environment, I'm telling you, is gonna be worth every penny. And they're cheap. I mean, they don't hardly cost anything. Now, another downside is, obviously it is a little bit higher profile. It's not quite as camouflage as, the first structure was. So if you're, trying to hide, like stealth camping, you're in a environment where you're trying to hide, it's not gonna be as low profile and stuff as your camouflage tent. But yeah, that's the pros and cons. I guess another con, obviously, is that, like I said, it won't keep out water. So you got to put a tarp over it. And you can do the same thing with the tarp. You could put the tarp above that, and it would be a little bit higher than waist high, like I told you to. But you could put the tarp structure number one, above that, and then have this under it. We never did that, but you could. And yeah, you would basically be free of bugs and protected from the elements as well. So that is structure number two, as simple as it gets. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, the putting it out, unfolding it is a lot easier than folding it back up. And I remember it even being a pain back then. And there was like one guy in the company that always knew how to do it, and everybody went to him and be like, show me how to do it, show me how to do it. So I'm gonna have to probably look at the instructions because I think I got it. I think here, it's coming back to me. The old noggin, steel trap, sometimes stuff gets out. So you take both sides, you grab them, and then I think you take the bottom, both sides, and then you twist it, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. I'm gonna have to consult the instructions, but I'm gonna get to number 3 first. So, I'm gonna go ahead and move that out of the way. Here's number 3, wherever I put it. All right, setup number 3 for sleeping anywhere that I learned in the Marine Corps. Now this one, you might get mad at me, but hear me out. Now this, I already took it out of the packaging. But I really can't say that I learned this in the Marine Corps, but I kind of did, because we didn't have these. But I can't tell you how many times I slept in a place in one of the first two items that I showed you, and I said, man, why don't they freaking issue us these things? And now everybody has heard of these, but it is a hammock. Now you might be saying to yourself, did bro really just make a video telling us how to sleep in the woods and he showed us a freaking hammock? Guilty as charged. But hear me out. Like I said, during my time in the Marine Corps, I can't tell you how many places I slept in one of those two structures wishing that I had a freaking hammock. And this is probably the lightest. I don't know. Number 2 and number 3 might compete for lightest because this has metal carabiners on it that are a little bit heavy. But light, affordable. I mean, you can get them on Amazon for probably 25 bucks, 20 bucks, something like that. This is a cheap one. You can upgrade them, you can downgrade them. You know, it's as simple as it gets or as complex as it gets, or as complex as you want it to get, I guess I should say. But a hammock is very universal, as many of you probably already know. So if you don't know how to set up a hammock, I'm gonna show you real quick. So basically, a hammock is gonna come with 2 straps. You don't wanna drill into a tree or anything like that. So, if I could get them out. Comes with 2 straps. Now the first one, so I'm going to take the strap, I'm going to wrap it around the tree, I'm going to feed one loop through the other. Bam. Strap on a tree, right? And I typically go about head high. Again, I'm 5'7", 5'8", so head high or a little bit higher than head high. And we're just gonna let that hang there for now. I'm gonna go to the second strap. All right, so second strap, same thing as the first. Come over here, I'm gonna wrap it around, take one side, feed it through, and again, just about head high. Now, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna wrap it around the tree once. Hammocks are a little bit finicky because you gotta get the right distance on the trees, but you use wrapping it around the tree to kind of eat up your slack if you have too much. Take one side of the hammock that has the carabiner on it, hook it to the strap, right? We'll see kind of where the hammock lands. So it looks like it's gonna be too long, so I'm gonna take the strap and I'm gonna wrap it one more time. All right. All right, so I've got it stretched out, back at the first tree, obviously way too long. So I'm gonna set my hammock down and take this. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it twice. May not need it. No, I think once will do it. Now, that's pretty low hanging. Honestly, it would work and you would be low profile, but I could take my straps and lift them up higher to try and squeeze more out of it, or I could probably wrap this one on my left one more time, but this would work nonetheless. So obviously, oh, we're gonna be on the ground there. All right, so I'm gonna take this strap and wrap it one more time. All right, took it and wrapped it one more time. Now it's too tight. So I'm gonna come down with my strap over here. All right, just loosen it up. Again, we're just trying to get the tension right. Get it off the ground. Dang. All I need is a few more inches. Story of my life. Okay. Come down with this one a little bit more. not gonna get it. So I'm gonna have to go over there and adjust the other side. All right. I think we got it here. Give her a little tug. There she is. All right. So, pretty easy setup, right? It's always gonna sag a little bit, so. Oh. Snug as a bug in a rug. So that's option number 3, a hammock. I know, something that no outdoorsman knew anything about, a hammock. But it is a great option, so I had to include it. Again, I didn't learn about it in the Marine Corps, but I'm telling you, it was on my mind heavy. So the pros and cons of a hammock, I guess we can cover pros first. One, the number one positive thing about a hammock is that it is freaking comfortable. It's more comfortable than sleeping on the ground, even if you have an iso mat under you. It's more comfortable. So that is a big plus. Number 2, it's lightweight, like I said, all of these options are, but a hammock's extremely lightweight and compact, so you can just throw it in a backpack, boom, you got a spot to sleep in the woods or wherever you're at. Number 3, they're cheap. That was the other thing. They're cheap. I mean, this one, probably 20 or 30 bucks. Again, I'll include a link in the description. I don't remember what I paid for it right off the top of my head, but they're cheap. And you can upgrade them. They make as fancy as you want or as simple like this one as you want. This is just a simple, cheap one, but they get pretty fancy and you can add all kinds of stuff to them. And to talk about the cons, coming back to that point of adding stuff to them, the cons are, as it sits, you're pretty exposed to the elements, but you can do, like I said, to do with option number 2, and that's add basically your own rain fly to it with your tarp. Same thing, put the 550 cord above the hammock. Obviously it would be a lot higher profile than just, sleeping on the ground. If you're in like a stealthy situation, this is gonna be pretty high profile. So you're gonna be pretty visible, even if you do get like a camo colored hammock. I mean, you're gonna be eye level, especially with a rain fly. So, but you can do the same thing with the tarp and basically give yourself a rain fly. And then you can also add, con number 2, I guess I would say, is as it sits, a regular hammock like this, non-insulated, is 1, it's not insulated. So you're gonna lose a lot of heat through the bottom. And then 2, anywhere that you are touching this thin material, a mosquito is going to bite you. That's just the way it works. I don't make the rules. It offers no protection from the bugs. If your skin is touching that material right there, a mosquito is gonna bite right through it. I guess, counterpoint to that is that they make liners in some of the fancier hammocks that you can put in the bottom of them that, 1, offer thermal insulation, so you're not losing as much body heat through the bottom of it to the open air, in colder environments especially. And then 2, in warmer environments, those are great because the mosquitoes aren't going to be able to get to you because it's thicker. As a field expedient option to that, you could also use your iso mat in the bottom of there. It's probably not going to give you as much protection against the bugs because you're going to inevitably be touching the hammock on the sides and stuff, but it will offer you a little bit of thermal insulation and a little bit more comfort from the foam pad. So yeah, those are the pros and cons. Hammocks are great. Again, I know I'm already telling you guys about an item that's everywhere that every outdoorsman knows about, but I couldn't do this and not include it as an option. So again, I didn't learn about it in the Marine Corps. We didn't have them in the Marine Corps, but boy, I can't tell you how many nights I spent in a place like this where I wish I had a freaking hammock. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I've got a lot more content like this coming here pretty soon. I have got a great camping video idea that I'm gonna try and shoot next week, so it'll be out very soon after this one. It's gonna be different. If you like this, I think you're gonna love what I got coming, because I can promise you that you have never seen anybody sleep or camp in the place that I'm going to be camping. It's a wild statement, I know. You've seen people do similar things maybe, but this specific place, you've never seen anybody camp there. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about the idea. It's kind of crazy, but I'm gonna do it. So that's my intention. Hopefully you guys will see the video when that comes out. And on that note, don't forget to subscribe so you will see the video when it comes out. Again, I couldn't do this without you guys. Appreciate you watching. Until next time, y'all stay wild.